Alright, so we're recording. Um, gonna do a Magic Online Gatecrash 8.4. I haven't done too many drafts of Gatecrash yet. I, to be honest, no real reason for me to do them, other than the sense of just, you know, playing Magic for Magic's sake. And right now, like, my schedule's become a little bit busier again. I've gone back to doing my PhD, and it's kind of, chewing up a lot of my time. So I'm trying to make these videos where I can, but I'm not rushing out the door to do it. It looks like I need to go to the store and buy some things, so I'll go and purchase those and do all that sort of garbage. So you can't see my credit card number, and then I'll come back to you. All right, we're back, we're in, and we're ready to go straight away. I've opened a Mythic Rare, Gideon, Champion of Justice. Don't know how much that's worth anymore, but I'll find out later. I'm gonna take it here. Um, Always good to play with, rares you haven't played with before, and always good to try and, yam a couple of tickets while you're at it. I'm going to increase this screen size a little bit and close the window here. Other good cards in this pack are got a lot of respect for Agoraphobia. I like these sort of effects, and its reusability and replaceability, and, ability to move around really gives it a bit of value. This guy's really good if you're demiring. Maybe he's probably good if you're Orzoving as well. Like, he's just a good evasion creature, and there's not much good evasion stuff in this format. This card is obviously a fine 2-drop. This is a fine flying creature for your Boros decks, and sometimes it's okay in your Orzhov deck. This card is pretty solid, I think. Uh, ability to Time Walk people is, pretty exceptional, and there's not really that much ways to interact in this format, which is another reason why I haven't drafted it very much. Disciple of the Old Ways is like a, really solid 2-drop for either of the green decks. Nice filler 2/2. This card's a bit overrated. Anyway, I'll take this Gideon, and we'll move on to the next pack. Okay, things to look at here. So I've drafted Boros a couple of times, and I haven't been particularly impressed with it, despite what people say about it being probably the best guild. What I'm going to try and do is go into Orzhov here, and I think I've got a good opportunity to do it by taking this Basilica guard. It could be that I'm overlooking this Call of the Nightwing, or what is essentially Eyes in the Skies, and while that's, while that might be the best card, what I'm truly overlooking is this Kingpin's Pet, which I hadn't noticed until just now. Yeah, this is like the premier common, I think, for Orzhov, and to me, it screams just a great opportunity to go into the color. There's no reason for me to be going Boros out of this pack. I mean, like, I'm Massive Raid or like Bomber Corps, both of which are really mediocre. I could take Pit Fight, which is fine, but my preference here is to take the Kingpin's Pet and just see what goes on. I know it commits me to a second color, but it doesn't really bother me. This is a premier common, and I'm going to take it. Okay. No really good Orzhov options in this pack. There's a Sky Knight Legionnaire, which is a solid Boros guy, and as well as another Pit Fight. What I'm really looking at, though, is a Simic Flux Mage. It's a pretty good card, and this is a fairly kind of strong. Both the Diluvian Primordial and the Flux Mage are like a nice signal to go jump into that color combination. Could be that I'm overlooking this multiple pit fights that have come my way, and I really should reconsider those, or that I should take this Depth approach. But I think Depth approach is a bit underpowered. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Simic Flux Mage, and I'm just going to go for it. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I haven't really lost out on too much per se. Another option is taking this Verdant Haven and trying to wind up this that 5-color special that Travis Wu talked about a little while ago, which I've tried a couple of times, and it's okay, but that would require me taking this Primordial and wheeling the Haven. I'm going to take the Flux Mage here and see what happens. Okay, so that didn't exactly work out perfectly. There is a good option for me in Orzhov in this pack, though, and it's Basilica's creature. And this guy's another excellent Extort man who I'm happy to take. Things to know, there's another Verdant Haven in this pack, so maybe if both come back, then I wind up, hanging my head out in that direction. But I'm going to take Basilica's creature and just roll with it for now. There's other reasonable cards. I could take this if I was going to stay on the Simic plan. I like this card a lot. I also like this card. But I don't take Basilisk Creature here. Okay, where are we at here? So, there's not too much amazing stuff going on here. What there is, though, is a Dutiful Thrall, which is a very cheap man to hold the ground and extort with. Something I'm not too unhappy about. There's also a Psychic Strike for the splash, which I think is a pretty solid card. Alternatively, there's Sage's Road Denizen, which kind of, puts me in this spot where I'm trying to get into this Dimir, just like, backdooring into Dimir off Simic Flux Mage and Basilisk Creature, which I'm not particularly thrilled about, and I might let the opportunity slide. That said, I haven't really seen much in the way of kind of like Premier red, black or white stuff, so it may be that I'm just sitting behind. I'm sitting behind someone who's Orzoving, and look, I'm gonna take Dutiful Thrall. I'm not impressed with the idea, but I think it seems like the best thing. I'm gonna stay the course at the moment. Okay. So where are we at here? Where are we at? Scab Clan Kataj is a good card. Leyline Phantom's a really good card in the Simic Evolved deck. Keymaster Rogue is pretty much unplayable, really, unless you're desperate for that evasion man. What there is here is Death's Approach, and it's a card that, while it's not amazing, it's cheap enough and can be a good enough removal, especially if you pick up some of the Grizzly Fates, or Grizzly Spectacles, and go into, wind up putting things in the bin like that. I'm going to take it here as this kind of speculative pick, because nothing else here excites me too much. Okay, well, I know this is a bit expensive and all, but it's a solid Orzhov card that has value and has extort, and I'm going to take it because everything else here is mediocrity personified. Alright, so is this my original pack? No, it's not. It's not my original pack. It didn't have Dimir Guildgate in it, or Hellraiser Goblin, I don't think. Yeah, this is pick 8. Options here are take Agoraphobia on the splash, or take Death Cult Rogue and get evasive, or take this Dimir Guildgate. I'm going to take the Death Cult Rogue because it fits in with my black-white plans. Okay, so here's my original pack, and Agoraphobia is a lapping, and that's really kind of curious to me. Unfortunately, I'm not going to jump on board because I think just like the opportunity is gone. I'm going to take this Gutter Skulk though because it fits the curve, it's cheap, it gets in play, it triggers extort, and that's what I'm doing at the moment, isn't it? I'm going to hide this Simic Flux Mage. I don't think this is working out. Out of this pack, the best card is probably Bomber Corpse Just, but I'm going to take Zarachi Tiger. Yeah, Zarichi Tiger, yeah, which is pretty much as close to Aquasteed as you're going to get. And Aquasteed is a personal favorite card of mine, despite its lack of playability. I'm looking at the foil one stuck to the wall in front of my desk right now. Okay, so the blue is wide open, obviously. I mean, I don't know why I haven't jumped in yet. Well, other than my desire to draft this mediocre Orzhov deck. I'm not sure if either of these is better, but I'm going to take Metropolis Sprite because I think it's flying and evasion is better than not flying and evasion. All right, easy pick of aerial maneuvers here. A completely playable trick that doesn't bother me in the slightest to have it in my deck. Furious Resistance it is, and Serene Remembrance. Okay, so I'm going to sort this by cost, and I mean we're doing well on keeping the curve low here. We've got like a quote-unquote bomb. I'm not really sure how good Gideon is, but, Planeswalkers are Planeswalkers, and that can come in play and really just kind of gum up the board, I think. As they bend over backwards trying to remove it under threat of the, million creature coming their way sometime soon. I think his ultimate threatens pretty quickly in a board stall. Alright, so this pack is pretty average from our perspective. I mean, this is a giant bomb, and we should remember that it's out there because it's insanely impressive, and a little bit scary to be perfectly honest. Other options for us include Balustrade Spy, which makes our death approach reasonable and is like just a solid man in general, and this Daring Skyjack, which good aggressive 2-drop, and I mean I've got two 2-drops already, and some we've got the makings of some aggression here. This interesting though. This guy triggers Battalion for free. What I'm going to do is take Balustrade Spy though. I think that it's better in general just to be. I think I would rather this body in general than this body in this deck. I mean, I'm not really sure like what my reasoning is here, but I'm going to take Balustrade Spy because I haven't played with it, and I want to play with it. It's my justification for many things in this draft. Unfortunately, there's two cards in this pack that I really want, and one of them is Grizzly Spectacle, but the other one is the insanely great 1000 Lashes. Sucks to be passing this Grizzly Spectacle, but I think this is a premier Orzhov card, and you probably just have to take it when you get the chance. Now, out of this pack, things that might lap, obviously these blue cards, because no one ever wants to be blue in this format. No one wants to be taking this Mind Grind, which is probably pretty powerful, I think. I might get Court Street Denizen or Gutter Skulk back, which would be completely fine. There's no chance of getting Grizzly Spectacle back, obviously, but either of these two dudes I'd be pretty comfortable with. They're both like cheap enough and have a warm body that you can put on the field and, you know, trigger some Extort off and, you know, force a bit of damage through with this guy, which this deck seems to be shaping up to do. I mean, only 3 Extorters so far, but hopefully pick up some more. Anyway, 1000 Lashes it is. Okay. So, it pains me to like not be taking cards like Sunhome Guild Mage. I really feel like I've kind of wedged myself into this guild on purpose, which, you know, if you go back and listen to the audio in this draft, I definitely have stated that I'm doing that. Fortunately, there's like a card here that I'm going to take and play in my deck. Is Basilica Guards, you know, fine Extort Man, you know, sweet Horn Turtle. I got a soft spot for Horn Turtle. Really like it. This card is too expensive to be really that good. Its body's too fragile for its mana cost. This card I actually like, I think. I haven't played with it, but I like it in principle. It seems like a good defensive card. But I'm going to take Basilica Guard here, and someone else can have this Sunhome Guild Mage gift. As much as it pains me. Maybe I can lap this. Maybe. Alright, so unexpected results. That's a rare card. So there's not really that much going on for me in this pack. There's this Overrun card, which I really don't think is impressive, and Ben Stark at the Pro Tour said it was pretty much unplayable, and he's this man whose opinion I will listen to. Other options for me here are Demir Kirun and try and set myself up to kind of splash a little bit of blue on the side, which isn't the scariest of options in my mind, though it's not ideal. I mean, I could take Shielded Passage, but I think I've got all day to take Shielded Passage. I think I can get as many of those as I really want, and there's something to be said about the openness of blue in this draft, and my ability, especially from the other direction, and my ability to splash really might be something ultimately desirable. I haven't really got anything to accelerate into, but it doesn't really bother me. Like this, you know, make a bit of mana to extort with, that sort of stuff. You know, if you can ever like attack with it, it's really cool. All right, so Corpse Blockade's here. Another Tiger, but I'm gonna take Angelic Edict. There's a bit of Simic coming this way. I haven't really been commenting or thinking about what Simic's kind of like coming in this direction, so no thoughts on whether or not my decision to try and, you know, when I took that Flux Mage and then abandoned it immediately was a good call or a bad call. But maybe rewatching the video will let me know that. Anyway, Angelic Edict's a fine removal spell, and I'll pick it up here, even if it is a little bit expensive. Okay, so sometimes you just need to be extorting, and this card is an extort card. I think it's definitely better than Devour Flesh. As much as it pains me to say that this 2-mana removal spell is worse than this 4-mana 2/2, but I think that this card's solid enough, and the extort ability is just, you know, super powerful. And you just need to load up. I just want to load up on it basically, and try and maximize my potential off all these kind of mediocre spells that I'm playing. So yeah, get a Slam Crypt Gust here. I'm gonna build that Connollywood special. Okay, so, you know, when I took that Demir Kirun, it was to potentially splash cards like Agoraphobia. This card is, you know, obviously it's a solid card. You know, shuts down any attacker, and the rebuys are really good. And the rebuys are doubly good when you're extorting, as much as I hope to be doing. To be able to like return Agoraphobia at end of turn, replay extort again, like just, you know, incremental advantage like that is kind of what I enjoy doing in Magic, and could be quite powerful. Fortunately, I'm not really passing anything else to take it, and like Horror of the Dim is mediocre at best. In this position, I have been gifted, absolutely gifted, this Orzhov charm. Um, like this is a very 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 fine card to be taking here, and it's perfect for my deck. Would like to be taking Smite, but I think Orzhov charm is just universally, generically more useful, and I need to be taking it here for its flexibility. I've even got a 1-mana creature to return from the graveyard. Alright. So my options here are take another Demiaki Rune, or just hate this card, because, jeez, why are people letting this go by? I don't see why this is still in the pack. I mean, I could take, like, Purge the Profane, which is a fine card. This is terrible, I think. This, I could take another Demiaki Rune, but it's going to take Biomass Mutation and not die to it. I think that's kind of my modus operandi at the moment. Okay, and so my pack with like a Denizen and Skulk came back. It's likely. I'm not really certain if I want Gutter Skulk or if I want Denizen. Do I have how many creatures? White creatures do I have to trigger Denizen? At the moment I have 1, 2. Let's not count this Tiger. Kind of makes me think I should just take the Skulk and just take another 2-drop. So, yep, I'm gonna do it. All right, here. Contaminating Ground, hey. This is the card that's most likely to get me. This Bioshift card. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take Leyline Phantasm. I'm going to take Illness in the Ranks, because, maybe it'll shoot up in value. It won't. Tin Street Market, sure. And this is a really good forest art, so I'll take it. I like this one. It's kind of forest in the courtyard of the city. It's real nice. Anyway, so the deck is like a mediocre going into pack 3. It's got like got a reasonable curve, and yeah, it got a reasonable curve. It's got like not much removal, if you know it, really, and it's it's just a little bit like weak at the moment, and I'm really hoping to flesh it out here. So here I have a bunch of options, and one of them is Nightveil Spectre. A card that costs triple black to cast, or triple black blue hybrid, but is insanely strong, insanely strong. If you collect with this and like they're playing anything close to the colors you're playing, it's so good. Not sure if it's better than this Basilicus creature though, which would be pretty sweet in my deck, I think. Just adding to the extorts. But part of me just wants to try this guy out, and what else are we here for, I guess? Yeah, I'm going to take Nightveil Spectre. Maybe I can lap this Basilicus creature. Hey, maybe. Maybe. Judging by like the amount of like stuff I got hooked up with in the first pack, I probably won't be able to, but maybe my blue will open up a little bit, and I'll be playing less white, and can wind up, playing a little bit easier. Alrighty. So here, this card's really, really good and should not be overlooked. This card's solid. This card's really can be a bit of a blowout, but I'm gonna take Death Cult Rogue because it's an unblockable creature, and I'll just add it to my stack. Hands of Binding's also alright. Armor Transport's fine. Totally lost, yep, but I'm not blue. Don't forget, I'm not blue. I'm just gonna take another Death Cult Rogue. Okay, so sometimes it pays off to stick to your guns. I'm gonna take this Treasury Thrall, and maybe it'll be sweet. Maybe it'll be sweet. Just gonna jam it and be happy with my big body. It's a fine way to top your curve, I think, and just another extort man for the team. Ramp to it with Cryptcast. This is almost perfect. Cynic of Tithes is another premier common in this color combination, and I'm really just lucky to have it right now. I wouldn't mind taking this Prophetic Prism, maybe help splash Agoraphobia and cast Nightveil Spectre, but no, look, I'm really happy to have Cynic of Tithes here. Would also happy with Assault Griffin, but Cynic is good, and I will jam it. There's 23 cards at the moment. I'm not really impressed with some of them. I mean, I'd rather not play Agoraphobia, Demiaki Rune. I'd I'd prefer not to play this as Zerachi Tiger, and this Death Approach seems really bad at the moment. This doesn't seem like something we'd be wanting to do at the moment. I have no way of getting creatures into the graveyard, into their graveyard in particular. This destroys a creature, right? Yeah, destroy. Okay, well that's one way. Alright, so out of this pack there is Corpse Blockade, which I think I'm a bit more aggressive than that card dictates. Other options are taking this Orzhov Guildgate to fix the mana, or taking Undercity Plague, which is, you know, frankly, it's pretty weak, but, again, I haven't had much of an opportunity to play with it, and I've got, like, double Death Cult Rogue. I mean, this is not a zero, this is, like, a non-zero chance to, like, cipher up and stick it on there, which isn't so bad. I could take Orzhov Guildgate, though, and fix my mana up a bit, which I'm kind of inclined to do, but I think I'm just going to jam Undercity Plague and see if it makes the cut. Again, haven't had many rares to play with, don't really know what's good or not. Well, I'd like to take Jameer Charm here, and maybe it suits. I think Ogre Slumlord's actually good, and will, you know, settle into my deck quite nicely, I think. Yeah, I'm going to take it here, and be a little bit sad that I'm passing Jameer Charm. But, what are you going to do? Alright, so Slate Street Ruffian it is. Nothing else here is particularly exciting, and this guy is on curve, on color, and making the deck. And so at this point, I don't think Death Approach is making it. I don't think Undercity Plague's making it. So I'll go hiding them. Don't think Demir Kira and Agoraphobia are going to make the cut. I don't think Zerachi Tiger is going to make the cut. So I've really got like 3 slots available. Or 2 slots available, sorry, to improve my deck with, and now we are stuck in this awkward spot where, like, do I want another Basilica Guard, 1 Extorter, 2 Extorters, 3 Extorters, 4 Extorters, 5 Extorters, 6 Extorters, 7 Extorters? Do I want Critical Massive Extorters? Do I want the Devour Flesh, or do I want the Executioner's Swing? And I think I want Executioner's Swing because it's a cheap coverall removal spell that I can extort off of, and that's basically my argument for everything. Take Executioner's Swing. I'm not certain if it's better or worse than the other card, Devouring Flesh, but just its lack of, you know, the fact that you can actually just get what you need to get with it is pretty important to me. So it could be that I wind up splashing a little bit of blue and playing this Call of the Nightwing, though it is unlikely. I think this card's like powerful enough to consider splashing, and I'm not going to use this Death's Approach per se. Yeah, I'm going to take Call of the Nightwing here. Overlooking Riot Gear in that pack, but I don't think it's really that necessary at the moment. Out of here, I'm just kind of, there's nothing for me to really take from my deck. You know, Hand of Binding and Adaptive Snapjaw are both fine, and so is Boros Guildgate, obviously, but I think I'm more likely to lose to hands than I am to Snapjaw. Snapjaw seems a bit slow against me, so I'll just take hands. In this pack, I am torn between Beckon Apparition and Midnight Recovery. I think I'm going to take Midnight Recovery because I have a couple of evasive dudes, and I have a bunch of extort, and so the idea of ciphering and returning dudes every now and then is not unappealing to me. Speaking in double negatives in modus operandi today, and repeating that phrase is also my modus operandi. That's the 3rd time. Pose of Profane, fine card to sideboard in if you need it. Shadow Alley, Denizen, a fine card to hide if you need to. And Mortar Strider, you know, because occasionally it's playable, even though I'm not blue. Okay, so not incredibly exciting. That last pack went pretty good, I think. Every pack went about like 6.5, 7 out of 10, and so I guess we'll see what the deck looks like in the end. I'm still not sure about that Night Veil Spectre versus Basilica Screecher pick, or about the Executioner's Swing versus Devouring Flesh versus second Basilica Guard pick, but everything else is fairly straightforward, I think. No Tigers. Okay, so that's 16 cards, and I haven't put any black things in yet. I think Slumlord is going to make it. Cryptgast, Balustrade Spy, Ruffian, Screecher, Skulk. So that's 23. Uh, that's pretty decent, I think. Other options, well, let's not have this dutiful throw in there just yet. Options are like, oh, and this card is definitely not making it, despite how powerful it is. So essentially, I have 2 cards to play out of this string of stuff here, and the other option is Demir Kieran plus Call the Nightwing, which I'm immediately discarding or discounting. So I really think I'm gonna have this dutiful throw. I kind of want to play with it and see what it's like. And another cheap guy to extort with. And I think Midnight Recovery is gonna make it here. I think it will. Just to return things to Cypher. Cypher is pretty strong, I think. Could be that I want that Zorechi Tiger, but what it really also helps with is just, I mean, this deck is like really heavy black. You know, there's very little white stuff going on. Like 1 white symbol, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So like not, nothing, but there's so many more black spells than there are white spells. I mean, like double black, double black, double black, or triple black. Sorry. So it kind of like slants me more heavy black and lets me cast these Death Cult Rogues and Night Veil Spectres a little easier by maybe playing 10-7 or whatnot and letting that do the work. Curious as whether this Undercity Plague's any good or not. A guy cast it against me and it was pretty brutal, but I didn't really doing anything in that game, so maybe maybe I was maybe something or other that I can't articulate at the moment. Alright, I'm just gonna add land to this. I think 10-7 is probably the way to go here, and it's a suggestion of 4 islands is probably not gonna be necessary. 10-7 works for me here. I had no real consideration for playing 18 land in this deck, despite having a few high-end things and a fair bit of extort. How many extort did I wind up with in the end? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's not unimpressive. Hopefully I get a bit of bleed off that, and also this 1,000 lashes. Anyway, gonna submit before I forget to, and I'll see you guys back here for round 1.